Today we're in Southern California to get a first look at the new Toyota bZ4X. That's coming up right now on Driving Sports TV.
This is it, the North American premiere of Toyota's first mass-produced battery electric vehicle, the bZ4X. The model we're focusing on is the entry-level XLE front-wheel drive trim, but limited and all-wheel drive trims will also be available when it hits the market in 2022.
If you get the front-wheel drive model, it has one motor. If you get the all-wheel drive, it has two.
Just because you're getting twice the motors doesn't mean that you're getting twice the performance. Maximum output from the front-driven motor is 150 kilowatts, whereas all-wheel drive splits 160 kilowatts between two smaller 80 kilowatt motors. The front-driven XLE trim comes standard with a 71.4 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack, good for up to 250 miles of total range. Toyota also claims that these batteries are designed to retain up to 90% of their capacity, even after 10 years.
So bZ4X stands actually for two things. First, beyond zero, that's what the BZ stands for. It really stands for how we want this vehicle to go beyond zero emissions and really bring value to all of our customers. And then 4X just speaks to the size and shape of the vehicle, obviously being an SUV. Globally, there will be more BZ vehicles, but of course I can't comment on future product.
So there are some really interesting design choices here. First off, it's this panel, which in photographs looked like it was bare plastic, but here it's actually a secondary color. It is a very sparkly silver, which I think actually looks pretty good. Right here we have the power port, which gives you both standard charging as well as DC fast charging options. Moving on back, we have some interesting bodywork. I kind of like this little lower plate. It gives a little lift to the vehicle, so it actually looks higher than it really is. But ground clearance is still good at over 8 inches. These actually are removable plates, so you can put in cross members, which is cool. Of course, this is a crossover, so that means it has cargo capacity. Let's take a look inside.
In the back, with the seats down, you can expect up to 30 cubic feet of usable cargo space.
Under the floor, we have some goodies. First off, this thing can be completely removed. A visor and charging cable. I actually really like that you can just ditch it and you don't have to like do all nicey nice with it. So often these systems require you to bundle them up perfectly. Now, can I get this back in there appropriately? In the second row, the most surprising thing is how high you have to step up. So clearly there are batteries down here and they do elevate the foot position, especially here in the second row. And I feel a little bit like it's just a little awkward. As far as space, there's tons of leg room here. This is where I would be sitting. I'm 6'1". Legs torso proportionate, and I just have miles of room back here. It also feels airier because of this dual sunroof, which lets in a lot of light. But the seat's not entirely comfortable. We have this massive blank plate here, which is kind of ugly, but we do get 2 USB-C sockets, and we get an armrest with cup holders and an integrated slot for sticking in a mobile device.
These vehicles that we have out today are pre-production, they're concept vehicles, and we'll have the final versions out next year.
Okay, we can't actually drive the bZ4X today, but we can take a look at all the stuff inside. And what we have here is an evolution of the Toyota design language. It seems very familiar. Whether you've driven a Lexus or a mainstream Toyota, there's a lot of good stuff here. And in particular, I want to point attention to the new infotainment system. Once we power it on. So this infotainment system we first saw on the Lexus NX. It then was later applied to the new Toyota Tundra. Here, it looks very much like the NX. It's a widescreen design with very nice color, very sharp display. Let's see if it'll do a voice command. Hey Toyota, find me the nearest cafe. No. Hey BZ. Hey you. Hey Toyota. Hey Lexus. Let's do a quick search to see how well this works. Find the nearest cafe.
The closest cafe is Vega Restaurant and Bar at 2100 North Coast Highway 101.
Great, it's right behind us. Let's go. You know, I really want not just a cafe, I want a proper coffee shop. So let's look for one of those. Find the nearest coffee shop.
The closest coffee shop is a Little More Cafe at 1030 North Coast Highway 101.
Great, are you local? Is a Little More Cafe good? Let us know in the comments below. Let's go there. And if I could only drive this, but I can't drive it yet because they're not ready. There are 4 of these in the world. We have 3 of them parked here. This one in particular is a lower end trim, and it's still really nice actually. Driver's display is up front and center, and you might notice that it's above the steering wheel, which is a little odd. It does not tilt with the wheel. I can imagine that if you're super short, you're still going to end up blocking some information, so I'm not really sure if that was a good design decision. It's also very scoopy, and I'm not sure I love that. I feel like I'm going to be driving down the street and somebody's going to have put a cushion with their cat up there or something. It just seems not like a gauge cluster. It's like, what is going on here? The more I look at it, the more that kind of annoys me. But I do like this. Now, even though they could have done all of the controls in the touchscreen, they actually still give us physical switchgear here. We can change the temperature, and we do have dual zone. We also have seat warmers, which is nice. Moving on down, we have a simple knob to control drive modes. I push it, it goes into neutral. I push and go right for drive. I push and go left for reverse. And then we get a camera, which is kind of funny. That camera looks like it's at least 5 years old. It does not look like the latest and greatest. Just a little disappointing. I want a higher resolution camera. That is not great. So up here, we do have lots of different options, but there is no home screen. Now, I kind of complained about that in the Toyota Tundra review, which we did last month, because your home screen is navigation. I would really like to see navigation, music, and maybe some other options, but we don't get that. Instead, navigation is the first option. Okay, here we have audio. You can see there's Apple Music as an option. You can do Bluetooth integration with cell phones, and below that, trip information. Now, we do have some options here, and you can create user profiles. And the user profiles are very cool because they are cloud backed up. And if you go to any other Toyota or Lexus vehicle that has this system, which right now would be the Lexus NX or the Toyota Tundra, you can download your user profile, which will have all of your settings in terms of what music you like, what temperature you want, even your seating position on certain models. Although this being a base trim, it is all manually controlled. But it is comfortable. The seat has really deep bolstering, which I really like. Visibility is quite good, and even the integration up here for the safety equipment, because they of course put cameras up here for the adaptive cruise control and other features, it's not very big. In fact, it doesn't take up more visual space than the mirror does alone.
Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, this will be the first vehicle with that new system. It does have some enhanced capabilities, and obviously we'll release more information in the coming months there.
Subaru co-developed this with Toyota because, of course, this is shared as a Subaru called the Solterra. And they're very, very similar. They're, in fact, nearly identical.
The most significant change that we know about so far is the revised nose treatment between the two vehicles. The Subaru will also only be available with all-wheel drive, producing a peak 215 horsepower and 248 pound-feet of torque. Ground clearance is 8.3 inches. The Solterra will also come standard with the electric version of Subaru's all-wheel drive off-road terrain management system called X Mode. But here is the real surprise. All-wheel drive versions of the Toyota Twin will also come with X mode.
This vehicle is the front-wheel drive version, so there is no X-mode control here. The X-mode control will give us the ability to vary the amount of traction grip as well as various programs. Of course, you can see that I also have sonars here to pick up on people moving around in front of the vehicle. Down here, we have a little tray for charging of a phone as well as a USB port. And actually, that's kind of funny. It's the old USB-A interface. It's not a new USB-C. So that's kind of interesting. There just seem to be a few things about this vehicle that don't scream brand new, even though it is brand new for 2023, and you will be able to buy it in 2022.
We obviously have 4 USB-Cs in there as well because that's where we're going, but you know, there's some that, like me, has a USB-A still, so I think it would work perfectly for those people.
Now, there is a USB-C down here, along with a 12 volt, so you can put accessories in this lower tray. For the steering wheel, I actually like the look of it. You might have heard that they are going to offer a steering yoke, which I think is a horrible idea, but that is not going to be sold in North America. That is a Chinese-only option now. Yeah, it's only going to the Chinese market. But here we have a wheel, we have everything tightly integrated. My fingers have all the room in the world. There's nothing for them to trip up on, and I actually rather like it. Up above, we have a split sunroof. Now, it is interesting that there's like a bar in the way here, but I think overall, yeah, I kind of like this interior. I look forward to actually giving this thing a proper drive early next year. I'm Ryan Douthit for Driving Sports TV. This has been my first look at the bZ4X. Now, we normally will do a full test drive, but this is a pre-production vehicle, and we don't have that opportunity yet, but we will bring you a full drive with some off-road testing as soon as we can. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like our videos, and share them. We make them for you, and we'll see you again here real soon.